But I'm wondering if you can give us a better statement of First Amendment rights. I'm going to throw you this question that was submitted by one of the audience members. Under the First Amendment, when is redressing grievances, when is petitioning government to redress grievances, when is that considered being part of a mob?
Well, there's a test under the First Amendment. It's called the clear and present danger test, or the incitement test. And the idea of it, which incidentally is discussed also later in the concurrence by Justice Brandeis, is that until the threat of action is so brigaded, so connected to speech, that there isn't any time for alternatives, and violence is then imminent, that's when there's a clear and present danger, then speech can be restricted. Examples are like shouting fire in a crowded theater, but it also would be where there is a mob and you say, let's hang them, you know, or let's burn all the cars. In other words, clear and present danger, incitement, that kind of exhortation to imminent, immediate violence is when the First Amendment limit is reached. And just so we're clear, I have no idea what Judge Roby meant.
We're at a point now where if anybody in the audience has a question, I think it would be a good time to let us know. I don't know quite how to get to you.
I'm a fairly loud speaker. I can talk pretty well.
I can hear that.
Thank you. My question, to the very point you just made, when a public official, let's say, says, go get him, I'll pay your legal bill, is that incitement?
Well, it's disappointing. I think if it were a mob type charged situation where it was immediately likely it could violate the First Amendment, but I don't think. I watched that. It didn't strike me as. It struck me as something I would never hope to hear a president say. And, but I don't think it was. I don't think it crossed the line on the First Amendment. I think if the person was right there and there were thugs, or, well, let's not call them. Secret Service, and he got them to grab them for no good reason. Then you have a point, I think.
Thank you.
Can Bridget well, let's start with Bridget, I guess. Can you yell? Or do you want to come up here and speak in the mic?
No, I wonder, all these people that we see being arrested in the halls of Congress, what are they being charged with, and why don't they have a First Amendment right to seek redress of their claims?
The question was, why are the people who were recently arrested in the halls of Congress and outside the Capitol, what are they being charged with? I assume it's disorderly conduct, but does anybody on the panel know what would justify those arrests while people are...
There's a couple things. First of all, under the First Amendment, there are things called time, place, and manner restrictions. So, for example, you can march, but you can't march in the Supreme Court. You can protest, but it probably has to be across the street. There may be certain hours of the day. In other words, time, place, and manner restrictions on how you exercise your rights are okay so long as they're content neutral and non-discriminatory. In other words, you can't let the NRA, demonstrate on the hall, the inside Congress. Of course, they don't have to. And then not let one of these groups Richard represents, so there are time, place, and manner restrictions. There's also trespass laws, and most government buildings and facilities have restrictions on when you're trespassing. Now, if they weren't really trespassing, then you would have to show disorderly conduct. But I suspect all these people were released.
They were, was my understanding, the charges were
I think it was
dropped.
probably just one of those, again, disappointing things.
Just for show.